Afternoon. Christian Jensen here again, Papa, making a top. This is one of these throwing tops. I thought I'd give it a try, and it worked out pretty well. So I'm going to show you how to do it today. To begin my project, I select several double-headed nails to use as a tip for the top I'm about to create. I secure the nail in a vise, then using a pair of heavy-duty pliers, I cut the head off of the nail. My hands aren't quite as strong at 70 as they were when I was 50. Using my drill bit container, I find the diameter of the nail. It easily fits in the 9/64 inch hole, but not in the 1/8 inch hole. So as I turn the top, I will drill an 1/8 inch hole to receive the tip that I will be making next. Using the heavy-duty pliers, I cut the tip to about 1 inch or so in length. I now grind the shorter end so that it's almost round. Then, being very careful because the nail can get hot, I grind the other end so that it is fairly pointy. Using a hard maple blank, I mark the centers and get everything ready to start my turning. As you can see, my blank is about 2 by a little better than 5 inches. It doesn't have to be quite this long, but that's just what I happen to have laying around. I place the blank between centers and then start to turn it to a round cylinder. It doesn't make any difference which tools you use. I just happen to pick these up, and these are the ones I use as I create my top. I increased the video speed to about 5 times normal. And now trim down the end to create a tenon. I use a small skew chisel to create the dovetail on the end for my chuck. When I put the blank in the chuck, I just barely snug it down. Then I bring the tailstock up to help center it, and then I tighten it down securely. Again, using whatever tool suits your fancy, I begin to create the outside shape of the top. Using a 1/8 inch drill bit, I drilled the hole in the end of the top to accept the metal tip that I created earlier. I now clean out the end of the hole again, and then using a pointy tool I kind of create a little bit of a bevel towards the center of the hole. Since the tip is just a touch larger than the 1/8 inch hole I drilled, I use a wooden mallet to drive the tip into the end of the top. Now, using a detail tip, I turn the top down so that it's kind of rounded behind the head of the nail. Using the carbide tip, it'll actually shave part of the nail off and make everything smooth. This is where the string will go around the end of the top. So far, I haven't had any issues with the tip coming out of the top. I now use a radius cut scraper to scrape the edges of it to smooth things down fairly smoothly. To facilitate putting some burn lines in the top, I use the pointed end of the tool to make a few indentations in the top. Using a burn wire, I burn each of the grooves so that it looks fairly nice. Using some 120 grit sandpaper, I sand the end of the tip. This Abernet works beautifully to kind of round things off over the end. And and smooth it out. You can use other finer grits to polish it if you'd like. I don't use it. You want a fairly smooth surface on the top, but you don't want a shiny surface because it'll make the string slip. So I use the 120 grit sandpaper to just sand things down on the top, and then I'll use some sanding sealer to seal it and make it look a little nicer as a finish. I just turn the speed up on the lathe a bit and just kind of burnish it in a little bit. It doesn't have to be real shiny. I'd lose my head if it weren't screwed on. You'd think I could put my tool rest in the holder right next to the lathe where it should be, but oh no, I have to lay it down somewhere else. But eventually I'll find it. Just using a small parting tool, I part the top off the end of the piece of wood. I just use a razor knife to cut the nubbin off the end. Then I take some sandpaper and sand it down. Since this top isn't for resale, I just sanded it down somewhat. I now sign it and date it, and then using a little more of the sanding sealer, I cover up the end and polish it up a little bit. There we have it. Think it turned out pretty nicely. We'll give it a try here in a few minutes and see how it works. Now I used about 5 to 6 foot of natural all cotton cord. I went up to the hobby store and got a roll of it for, it usually sells for $5, but with my coupon I got it for a little less or a little better than $3. You find that the cotton cord holds and works a little better. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.